Good afternoon, Facebook family, and wherever you're tuning in from. This is Bar Talk, another Sunday afternoon in sunny Sunrise, Florida. Amazing afternoon. I couldn't want for better. And we have an amazing panel, and we have a topic that most of you, at some point in time, had to deal with. So this is a time to tell a friend, and just let's get this show on the road. And I'll tell you more about my guest right after this. Welcome back, folks. As you know, this is Bar Talk, a presentation, a moment to remember studio where we do all things photo, video, and print. So if you have a passport picture, something as simple as that, or your next major event, give us a call. Don't ask us about what's your price list or how much it costs. Every project is different. Talk to us about your dream, and we'll make this dream a reality. Call us 954-226-8029. That's 954-226-8029. Of course, this is part of Jamaicansdotcom, the #1 platform, arguably, for all things Jamaica, South Florida, the Caribbean, and to the rest of the world. As you know, we have people coming into us from as far as China, Ghana, and I still have my college friends from England who have a little group that tune in every Sunday. Andrea and the group, of course, we have people from elsewhere. Tell a friend, be part of the group. Well, today we have a topic about how we deal with each other in the Caribbean. PJ, remind me of that topic again specifically. We are more alike than different as far as the people, black folks in particular, but people in the Caribbean, Haitian, Jamaican, Trinidad, and you name it. And so today we want to explore the topic and give our opinion and be quite frank, because I have some statements to make that I experienced growing up. We have a panel starting with, I'm just going to introduce himself. Have him introduce himself. He is the president of the Jamaican Men of Florida. He's an author. I probably have his book somewhere here. I'm going to show it. He doesn't want to present the author side of him today. He's a speaker. He's everything. I'm just going to ask Pete Kennedy to just talk for himself.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Thank you very much for having me on Bar Talk this afternoon, Luke. It's a pleasure. I'm always excited to be here. Pete A. Kennedy, again, president of the Jamaican Men of Florida. And Luke, when you told me about this topic, I had to show up. #1, because of the president of the organization, I have also witnessed and experienced things that I believe that as a leader in the community, if we could talk about how we could collaborate with everyone in the Caribbean, I want everybody to know that you're supported by the Jamaican Men of Florida. So I'm honored to be here. I'm excited, and let's talk.
Awesome. I have Ginger. Diane, I call her all kind of names, so I'm so happy today that I can access a Ginger and not another name. This lady is a community activist. She has so many titles. She's highly educated, everything. Not that the rest of us know highly educated. But Ginger, just talk for yourself for me, please.
Thanks, Luke, and thanks the panel. So I was asked to be a part of this panel for many reasons. And yesterday I earned the new name of activist. I don't know that feel yet. It's still working on me. But I am someone that you'll see that volunteers in the diaspora with our community leaders, right, and our alumni association. I grew up Catholic. My mom was an ardent Catholic, and she used to take me around this program that they have called shut-in. So it's where the elderly are sick. They are shut in. They don't leave their houses. So she used to cook, drag me as a little girl. And so that became a part of me. It's a part of my DNA to give back. So when you see me out there, you might see me in Sunrise, Miramar, Miami-Dade. I've not been too far north yet, but I may reach, right? So I do support our community leaders. You will hear I hold them accountable. So maybe that's where the activists come from. So it's a pleasure being here in the panel, and our extinguished guests that you will hear from soon. I do support them.
And we have a good thing, a bar talk. I didn't bother to ask Pete, because Pete has been here so often. Everybody know him, a Jamaican. But sometimes we're surprised that people are say they are Jamaicans, and then when you find out they're Jamaican, just recently I hear somebody's wife come from somewhat Caracas, Venezuela. Kind of different thing. So Gina, let me just ask you, and since we do that cultural thing here, are you Jamaican? Where did Jamaica come from if you're a real Jamaican? Tell us something about your upbringing. Back to you, yes. Gina.
Oh, I'm Jamaican. I'm Jamaican. I was born at home, Beach Avenue in Eastern Kingston. So I grew up, I am an Eastern Kingston girl. I'm a Jamaican girl. I went to Alpha Academy High School. I'm on the South Florida Alumni Association, and I support my alma mater. I'm a Jamaican to the core. I'm a naturalized American, and I do embrace that. That gets me to meet a lot of other cultures, and that's probably one of the reasons I was invited here.
Yeah, for sure. And so at least we know that when she tells people she's from other places, we have heard it here first, the truth, where she's from. And we'll come back to the other thing about, this gentleman's wife and where his origins from. But when I came from New York, years, I don't want to tell people how long, there was a club in New York called Illusions in Brooklyn off, what would I wrote the name now? Empire? Yes, that was the hot spot to go to. And when I came to Florida, I said, boy, they have things like Illusions, and a man told me, so man, no man, there's a club named Stinger Lounge. And then I didn't know who was the owner of Stinger Lounge. I know it was a place that just too packed. I couldn't go inside there. And on a weekend, you had to kind of stay out. So long after I realized that the same man who I know as a man that is does jerk fest, involved in Miramar, involved in so many communities, whether it's painting somebody's house or to do any kind of thing, is none other than Kane TV, Kane Radio, businessman. It was Eddie Edwards, same man that was same flesh. So Eddie, talk to the people.
Oh, you mean Clarence Edwards?
You see, you must start the same big one. Yeah.
First and foremost, born and grew in Jamaica, Harbour View, McGraw.
Yes.
Under the clock. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
And went to Ardent High School. When you said you was an ardent Catholic, I said Ardent Catholic.
That don't exist.
But to be honest, Luke, the one thing I must say, I'm not happy because the topic is about diversity. It's about more in common than differences. But I see you have 3 Jamaican and no Trini, no Bajan, right? And 1 Haitian. So I am going to step out as though I'm Jamaican based on my history, which I'll tell you in a minute.
Yes.
I am going to represent Barbados and Trinidad so
like
that we have little equality.
I like
okay?
that. I like that. I like that.
Was that such that your wife was from one? I'm sorry.
No. So let me tell you, let me lay this quickly. My mom left Jamaica when I was 4 years old. She went to live in the Bahamas. When I was 10, I made my first trip there on summer vacation. And every holiday I would visit. And that gave me an exposure to the other islands because there were a number of other Caribbean islanders that were living there. And eventually my mom got married to a Bajan. So if you imagine a Jamaican living in the Bahamas, married to a Bajan. Okay, so my surroundings and environment was totally Caribbean. So if you want to say I'm a Caribbean man, so I'm going to represent Trinidad and Barbados today.
Okay.
I like that.
And just before we move on, Ginger's not the only female in the room, although she would love to think she represents the entire room. We have 2 beautiful ladies, which we introduce somewhere in the show. And I'm sure one of the ladies is from another country, other than Jamaica? Zambia. So thank you, Lord. So Eddie, point is not quite I almost feel like I need to put up another chair.
Yeah, man. I truly believe so, man.
I'm bringing up the side.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yes,
man.
I'm glad if we can find
Yes,
Mo or DeAndre, if you can find a high chair or something, I will sit aside.
And a mic.
And a mic. I know you can't find one. Bring the lady on the scene because I would love to know what the Zambians think about them carrying people.
Right, right.
I'm talking about that.
Married one, so it must be.
Yes.
So the matter is, folks,
Yes.
and it is right. It is right. I was a last man trying to get a couple other people. I had some choices, and honestly, based on what I consider as a very sensitive political climate, I chose not to use those particular persons. But talking about this gentleman, a combat vet, he is a military man, he is a spokesman, he is a candidate for the U.S. Senate, he is so many things. He has a following. He will tell you. None about Mr. Rod Jones. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, and
Evening.
thank you. I'm honored, Mr. Valentine, and moment to remember, and everybody, the panel. I am honored to be here. I feel home because every time I have accent, I had an accent, I feel perfectly home.
Yes.
Because so many people try to be corrective. They're afraid of the accent. Do you know many people the accent hold them back?
Yes.
Because they try to be perfect. But my accent is always propel me because every time somebody says you speak with an accent, I know I speak one more language that you don't.
Yes.
So that's one thing that keeps me going. I'm honored because when we're here, we're about 71 miles from each other, from tip to tip, the south to the north of Jamaica. I think this is really, this type of talk needed because a lot of people don't realize Haiti, even if we were the first one that was independent,
Yep.
we have one of the biggest hero of Haitian in our culture that's from Jamaica, Bookman. And he was the only guy, the only reason they call him Bookman, because he was the only guy that knew how to read. And when he goes over there, he was the pillar of our really our revolution. And late to 1950s, 60s, Haiti was the beacon of the Caribbean because everybody used to go shop in Haiti from the Caribbean and go to the market at the what we call the steel market today, and then the Hippolyte market, and go. And it was like touristic. It was one of the market that almost 100 countries used to go to visit to see the marvels of it. But unfortunately, we fall back. But we always say it's black, or we black, but we divide in black. I don't believe in, when you say Caribbean, I see one black, because we all are one. I don't see Jamaican, I don't see Trinidadian, I see different dialects.
Yeah.
But the moment we stop dividing ourselves, that's when we never find our full strength. And that's why I'm here. And I'm honored to be a part of this panel.
The lady sitting that we're trying to get on the panel, can you tell us a little bit about her?
Yes, a beautiful marvel woman. We met over 22 years ago.
Wow.
And after that, I never let her go.
And she is from?
From Zambia.
Ah,
Yes.
awesome. You mentioned two things, and that it just hit something that I really wanted to talk about, because two things you mentioned. One, the accent set us back. The accent set us back in so many ways for different people. Now, globally, the hypocrisy of it, because some people accept certain accents more than others. And I'd like to tie that in with two experiences I had as growing up. My mother, you mentioned Port-au-Prince and the higgling or the selling. My mother used to higgle Jamaica. Okay, informal commercial vendor. let me nice it up a little bit. She used to go to Haiti to buy things, haberdashery stuff, shoes, whatever you want, come back and settle. And she used to come back and talk about how the people in place, well, God bless our soul, she's now rested with God. How, boy, the people them there, all you hear is blah, 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 blah. So when you talk about the accent, all you can hear is blah, 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 blah. But boy, they just buy me things and leave. And it created that stigma that, first of all, the Asian people can't talk, which, first of all, is a different dialect. You go to Jamaica, you go someplace in Jamaica, there's a place named Cabbage Valley. When I went to teach, and I went down to St. Elizabeth, Cabbage Valley. I couldn't understand.
Cabbage what?
Cabbage Valley.
St. Elizabeth alone.
I couldn't understand, and I'm Jamaican. But people take these things. And the second thing, when I came to the United States, I had to do my medical in New York. and the United States Embassy sent me to do my physical to a place in Manhattan. And I went inside. I saw a fancy sign with this guy name, some name I couldn't pronounce. I think it must be Russian or something like that, I think, you know. And it has all these credentials on the wall, the different universal, doctor this and neuro this and this. When I went in, the brother said, look at me, and he said, Sapa say. And I'm like, he thinks I'm Haitian. Then I realized that the man was one of the most highly decorated Haitian doctors at the time that worked for the United States Embassy, the person who ensured that I got to this country. And so the thing that we have about people, because we don't understand them. And so this is one of the reasons why I want to put this out today. And fast forward 2024 elections, and people are using left and right. He this, he Jamaican, he this, he what of you, he Haitian, you can't vote for them because of this and that. It's annoying. And so that's my piece where I said we had to have the show. We can vent on it. And I said, Pete, looking and thinking. Pete, over to you.
Definitely. I'm glad you swing this way, because I want to say that one of my success as a speaker is my accent. And I want to give credit to Reverend Miller, who one day I came off a stage and she said, Pete, you see that accent? Don't lose it. And you and I spoke before this. We left the islands at the age of 17. I've spent most of my years in America. But you're absolutely right. Well, when somebody hears me, the thing is that you just want to be clear. And what your accent brings is authenticity that doesn't exist. So you have to understand how to use it and when to use it. But that's where I wanted Dido to say, I truly like to hear that from somebody else. I don't think I've ever heard it from somebody in another Caribbean culture that say, because when you come here, they must say twang, and they must say prop up your thing, and
Right,
you know, they must
right.
say this, and you say, what you mean? But just like, you know, at Eddie Amatag, just like what you just said, it's more, am I clear in my pronunciation and words? And that's where practicing as a speaker comes in. But I don't want to lose the accent, because that's when people say so.
Yes.
And that I want to jump in with you, Pete, because growing up, all of us, we were told to speak properly,
Yeah.
speak the Queen's English,
Yeah.
and they wanted us to even
Yeah.
have the English or
Yeah.
the American
Yeah.
accent.
Yeah.
And some of us, when we come here, we still try to maintain and
Mhm.
hold on,
Mhm.
try to, in order to blend in,
Yes,
we
yes,
grab the
yes,
American
yes.
accent.
Yep,
And
yep.
I was having a conversation with a lady, and she said, I love your accent. And I'm like, wait, may I have accent?
Right,
After all these years.
right,
Yeah,
right,
you know,
right.
but yes, we have
Yep,
to embrace it.
yep,
But
yep.
again, coming out of colonialism,
Yes.
all the
Mhm.
islands,
Yep.
you know, we were
Yep.
taught not to love ourselves.
Yep.
And anything
Yep.
that was from
Point us.
To us.
our African origin was not good and not to be valued.
Yeah, yeah.
And the challenge we have now is that some of us still have that
Yes.
mindset.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what causing us
Yes.
sometimes to even
Yes.
be against each other. We're
Yes.
not embracing our own culture.
our
So
own.
we big up people like Louise
Yeah.
Bennett
Yes.
and those
Yes,
culture people
definitely.
from the
Yep.
early days
Yep. Yep.
that gave us the confidence to be able to be here. And you look at now Bob Marley and, you know, his songs and the music and now all the cultural stuff
Yep.
is
Eddie, can I just jump?
leading the way.
Can
Yeah,
I just
that's
jump in
so
on that?
true.
Because
So
that's
true.
another thing that, like you said, when we sell out our own culture, whether it's Jamaica, Haitian, everything. As a Jonestown boy growing up in Jonestown and the Cemetery Road, I remember Bob Marley, as the key people them call him, like a crazy ball, a Rasta man with a guitar upon his back. And now this suddenly people shun away from the man, but when he gets success, we suddenly start, it's like compa. What a compa music was, a music where, what a Haitian music, now somebody busts out with it. Anyway, I'm sorry, Eddie, right back to you. I'm not jumping into the story.
But you know, to tie into the topic that we advertised today was similarities.
Similarities.
And where I find a lot of similarities is just the culinary similarities.
Yes.
The food.
Yes.
Loving food, you know.
We basically
Jerk fest.
eat the same things, cook it a little different, but you know, we call this that, we call that that. And so for me, one of the common things is my love is plantain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have the fried plantain, tostones.
Yes, yep.
Then we have fried green plantain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there is a big thing between peas and rice and
And
rice
rice
and
and
peas.
peas. Right,
You
right.
know? But pretty much are all the same. Saltfish, bacalao, right? You know?
Juca.
Yuca, cassava.
There you go. And we have all those things that we all have in common, you know. The Haitian pork, that's
Griot.
Griot,
Yep.
jerk pork.
Jerk pork for we.
jerk pork for we, right?
Yeah.
And it's a little different,
Yeah, it's a
but
little different.
there's so many similarities,
Yeah.
you know. And for me, I love to venture into the other culture, you know. I love to taste their food, and you realize, oh man, this is so good. And you have something similar in Trinidad. Once island, I forget a shark and bake. A shark and bake.
Ooh, that's how a fried dumpling over we call it here.
I tell you this, and I have
fish.
fun with it because it's a shark and bake, but it's fried.
Yeah.
Right,
It's not
right.
baked, it's fried.
And that's when and Eddie, you're right. When I had it for the first time, I'm saying bake, because you know, to bake, I'm thinking.
Right.
But it was fried.
It was fried. It was
Watch
fried.
this. All the way across the hemisphere, and I wrote it in my book, all the way across the hemisphere, I went to the Philippines and they're cooking brown stew chicken, chicken adobe. They're cooking curry chicken. That is when I said to myself, but Jamaica not unique. Honestly, I'm like, but I thought Jamaica had all these unique things.
But do you know the history, the link between Jamaica and Philippines too? In 1898, when the U.S. was needed backup, the British sent a bunch of soldiers from the Jamaica to go fight the Philippines.
Wow.
That's
If
they taught
you go
them.
to the northeast of Philippines, you're gonna have Haitians. You're gonna have a lot of black Negroes over there. They're from Haiti and Jamaica.
Yep.
You're going to need a round two a bar.
Right,
You're gonna need a round two because if we're here in this and I didn't even know this.
And I just wanted to piggyback on Mr. Jones because he has a unit, he's a combat veteran. And therefore, if
Yep.
anybody experienced that, what was that like for you? Did you experience? Well, first of all, I want to just ask everybody, because I gave my honest thing as to what happened, my first experience, and understanding that we need to cut this nonsense out. Everybody here is holier than thou and never had any notions of any other race. What's your first impressions?
All right.
Most of my friends in the military, there's no Caribbean. The moment we all black, we connect. This
Awesome.
segregation is still in the military. My best friend, Dudley, she's Jamaican. We deployed together. We retired almost 1 year from each other. We went to airborne school together, military. She was a cook, and then I was a paralegal. We close-knit friend. Most of my soccer friends, for us to get a soccer team, Jamaican Haitian, there's no Jamaican Haitian. We'll be fighting from each other.
Yeah.
So the point is, we have a nuance. It's not a difference, because the difference is something that's incompatible.
Yeah.
We have a simple nuance. For example, we say jerk chicken grill. Okay, which one is better? We both gonna eat it because it both made by grandma.
Yeah.
Okay, but the point is, like you say, you go back to colonialism. And as a historian, this is something I'm always trying to see why we thinking different. Sometimes we got the same thinking process or ideology to the same thinking is different. This is what we can say, because it's good to think collectively. If we don't have the same ideology, we're gonna be swayed away. And this is why they get us. Every time we go to that curve, the brewer stay in the middle right there.
Yeah.
He likes for us to do this, but if we go heads on,
Knock
he
him
have
out.
to
Knock
step
him out,
away. Or we knock him out.
Yes.
So this is why we need to start building. There's 33 countries in the Caribbean. They call us Caribbeans. Whatever they call us, we brace it. But if you look at the GDP of those 33 countries, none of us that the son of this country benefits from them. Do you know there's only 6 companies that's own every business in 32 Caribbean countries?
Wow.
So me, you, we would have been here if we have a piece of the pie. But they tell us we're poor, we're backward, we're third country, right? But they're making billions.
And where these how many businesses you said?
6 business, 6.
And where do they originate from?
United States and Europe. About 3 of them from Europe, and now you got Digicel.
Yeah.
Digicel is sucking the blood of us Jamaican Haitian in
what?
the Caribbean, right?
Who knows?
Digicel was
Better have your credit.
about to do bankruptcy. And then they say, oh, you got a venture in Jamaica and Haiti. They made a profit. Billions of dollars outpaces fund companies in the US. But they still tell us we the one that backward, we uncivilized. If civilization means what they make us think
it is.
we still have a long way to go. Because when they were civilized the world, they were raping, assassinating, breakbacking on young men, and slavery. The same way when they call Haiti the pearl of the island. It wasn't for us. But my ancestor was still picking cotton. Okay?
Right.
But they call it the pearl of the island. We build Europe, you build America. We still don't have nothing left.
Right.
Now they call us immigrant, we call alien, we call all sort of names to minimize us mentally, spiritually to broken us, because you can be not religious, but you spiritually connected with your homeland.
Of course.
When they disconnect you spiritually to your homeland, that's when you say Jamaica is a lost cause. Haiti is a lost cause. Why? Because spiritually you disconnected. That's
True.
That's very powerful than physical attraction to your homeland. Because you never say, I'm done with Jamaica. They say, oh, that's a fine Jamaica. What? Because you cannot take Jamaica from you.
Nope.
You can leave Jamaica all you want. It's the same way we like, I don't know how many times I say I don't want nothing to do with Haiti. They say there's a car accident. How many people died? Everybody okay? It's an instant reaction. So we need to start to learn to think like that. You don't have to be Haitian. If it's Jamaica, something happened in Jamaica, we all felt the pain. Because we all know the grind. We all know the sorrow. But other people try to divide us. Your Jamaican problem is not Haitian problem. When we look at the formula, we all have the same problem.
We are
Different way to solve the problem, but the same problem.
Awesome.
Yes,
Let me
yes.
just say a shout out to all the folks who are online, because there are quite a few people there watching. Kay Lawrence, Michelle Lawrence Dennis. There is Joy Smith in the house. We have Hallelujah, Kay Morris and 18 others. Jennifer Brown is watching. Georgia Murray is watching. KK Morris is watching. Tommy Bynes, Carrie Ann Taylor, Marlene Isaacs, and folks, if I mess up the names, Ginger will tell you how Gina came about.
Find Martin.
Faith, Faith, Wayne, Yvonne Levy, Kaisha Ramdas, Ron Dowie Edwards, Donna Dean, Celia Simon, and folks, a lot of names. There are just so many people on the chat. Hey, listen, keep watching, keep sharing, because this is good information. Someone that says, good evening, KK Morris, good evening, all in the house. Somebody says, hey, Eddie, thanks for sharing. She said, thanks, in other words, Eddie, thanks for picking up the other countries. So I'll come back as to who that is. And quite a few. PJ, we have our studio audience, and we do have, for example, Mr. Eddie Edwards, the lady that makes sure he walks the line, and if not, he walks the plank, is in the house. And of course, you've heard Mr. Joseph talk about his wife, and we do have a team back there. We have PJ, we have Maurice, and we have DeAndre. And the funny thing about it, what I love, I have some young men, all in their 20s back there, who helping out PJ on the controls, are making us look what I think looks good. And these guys are from different places, and they're all college graduates in this field. So kudos to them. And folks, keep on watching. Somebody said, yes, that was a person about Eddie. It was Kay Lawrence Martinique says, or Martinique, again, pardon me. She says, well done, Sir Edwards, representing Islanders. Good man. Jijo.
Yes.
You've been around all kind of folks. You have experienced things. You have shared. What's your take on the whole thing? Especially, I'll be right back with you. But Brad said something. When we hear about how many people died in Haiti in the violence and so forth, let's be honest. Many Jamaicans don't consider that concern them. And so when you said it concerns all of us. Because the downfall of one Caribbean island is the downfall of all. But when you said it does resonate with me, because sometimes watching news is, okay, yeah, them are going on the same thing again. But no, it's not them, it's us. But Gina, what's your take on stuff? Ginger.
I would say maybe if I was in Jamaica, I would probably think that way. But having moved here.
Why? I'm going to call you on that. Why?
Because I didn't have a lot of other countries. I didn't have Haitian friends, Trinidadian friends. Now I have Haitian family. Yes, so I came here and I went to Kaiser University. My very first best friend, she's from Haiti. So she had a conflict within herself. She had family from Haiti and from Dominican Republic. She spoke English, French, Spanish, and Creole. One day we were walking and a Haitian approached me and said, "Sac passe," and I'm like, she said, "De se mabule." So I said, "What that mean?" And she said, "Oh, you didn't know I speak Creole?" I said, "No." So we were in the canteen and some Haitians were talking. And she was there and she said, "Don't worry, they don't know it. They don't know I speak Creole." And she's listening to them. And she said, "They're saying that you're so smart. They wonder where you're from." And I said, "Let's tell them." So I went over to them. And so that's my first friends, my first posse in the United States, in university, were my Haitian friends. I work in corporate America for probably 20 years at the same company. And now I have friends from all different Caribbean countries. And I would say my exposure, so whenever I see anything happens in Haiti, it becomes, and I reach out to my friends. My tax preparer, he's Haitian. And if that's trust, right? So he has all my information. And that shows you that Haitians are my second family from Jamaica. I remember doing a project and it was a Canadian bank. And they visited the office and they came at the end of our meeting. They said, "Diane, we have a question. We have a bet." And I'm like, "You have a bet?" They're like, "Yes, we talked to you over the phone and we hear this accent. And we're all betting where you're from. So now we're here, we see you, we changed our bet." So I said, "Okay, what's the bet?" The first one was Haiti. The second one was Barbados. The third one was Bahamas. They never said Jamaica. I said, "I need to brush up on my Jamaican accent. I'm losing it. I'm losing it." But they lost the bet. But I felt good that they all betted from, the Caribbean, the same pot. Yes.
Question to you all.
Yes.
Question to you all, and I just need fair answers. And I'm going to start with Pete because I think I'm going to challenge him for that.
No, because I know Pete keep it real.
How much fear comes in? And because mark it, we are more alike than different. We ended the program on that, and we're going to motivate people as far as understanding that we are more alike than different. But there are some elephants in the room, and I want to really talk about that. How much, for example, the Jamaican accent? It's a broken of English and Spanish and French and everything. But because of the Bob Marleys and the Peter Tosh and the Wailers and so forth, who kind of ran before some of the breakout artists from Haiti and some other places, people kind of had to learn the language to love the music. However, when you come on to certain countries, and I'm going in particular, like for Creole, sometimes we have fear, in my mind, that people, when you sit down with two people, Haitian people, then them start talking Creole, because two Jamaicans start talking patois, you understand at least, honestly, about 30%, 40%. But when you start talk Creole, you totally gone left field. Pete, in your mind, how much of that affects the relationship? Because you tell me. I have my ideas of it, you tell me.
For me, my response to that is this. The Bible says that the people perish because of lack of knowledge. So if we are honest with ourselves, I remember in college, the first time when I spoke Jamaican, everybody around me was shocked because it was new, they don't know what it is. And the moment you get comfortable in your language, you start to go fast and it sounds, that's how we sound to everybody else, and the same way how everybody else sound to us, right? So for me, it had to be get to understand the individual. And when I started to look at things differently, and Sir Eddie brought it up earlier about diversity, I think differently, right? Diversity is what I call inevitable, because we're all created different. But individualization is totally different.
Break it down,
and we don't take time to find out why the people are where they come from. My experience through Haiti was dating a Haitian girl. right? And when I came to Florida, not the United States, I lived in Chicago before, and I never met a Haitian in Chicago. It was more Belizeans, right? And when I came to Florida, there was no Belizeans. Now it switched to all Haitians. So I never came with it's just when I moved here, everybody was like, oh, the Haitians. And I'm like, what's wrong with the people? And when I met a Haitian girl, oh my gosh. Yeah, when Luke tell me what, because a lot of people, they're not fair enough and even transparent enough to say, we're just not giving the other Caribbean islands an opportunity to share. And then you'll be like, you know that we're the same, right? So with my experience dating that Haitian girl when I came here in my early 20s in 2003, it really allowed me to understand her culture. And I was like, these people are so much similar. The only thing I always look at, to tell you the truth, is I look for Haitians because they come with high cheeks a little bit. And this is why they may think that you are different. But again, that comes back with the history with Jamaicans and Haitians. So you have that mixture where you don't know, probably from your heritage, there might be some Haitian in there because of the high cheeks. When I met somebody from Guatemala and Eddie, when I learned their story, it's similar to Jamaica. When I met somebody from Dominican Republic who is right across the border from, I said, so what am I this border? It's the same thing. Then it's like, just like you, I start saying, no, we're not different. The moment I hear a different accent, I come up with my number one question. And my number one question that everybody knows, Pete, is why? So before I start judge, I say, why you sound like that? Where it come from? What do you do? And then when I start to learn it, my friend, it's the same.
Pete, I have to agree with you about knowing the person, getting to know the person through whatever language it means, because my neighbors next door have a chiropractic place. Util. Util next door. Util, if you're watching, hello. She always watch the program. Util, if my back goes out so far, I run over there. Util take care of business. If she's available, I'll introduce you afterwards. And you're right, Pete. If she's talking to somebody in her own language, because I know Util so much, because with that type, because I know her as a person, I don't have to wonder she's talking about me.
Yep.
And so the mysticism that is gone. And to me, if there's anything we can take away from this in terms of we are stronger together, or we're more alike than different, like you said, just like any friend, whether they speak English or them speak Jamaican part, once you know them, because there are people around you who you them speak the same language, and they could be right in front of you giving sign language against you. But if you know the person, then you can rule that out.
But before somebody is tagging, Luke, we Jamaican must be very thankful for Bob Marley, because that's the first things that introduce us to people. Bob Marley and reggae music. And then you understand? Right. So I tell a Jamaican, say, the other Caribbean islands don't have that. So before, they come and they say, oh, you Jamaican, Bob Marley, reggae. And I'm going to add a little piece for them, say we do as well with Bob Marley, the picture all the time. But that brings conversation. And then they get to what? Know us. But the Haitian don't have that until the music just come out, and some of the African countries and Caribbean islands didn't have that, so somebody could have an introductory conversation to talk. Jamaicans had that.
Got you.
No, but you see, the first thing is, one of the things I try not to do is make all these general assumptions and paint any nation group with one broad brush. That's the first thing. And like you said, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. All human beings. And we all have the same basic needs and respond to pretty much the same thing. Yes. Right? And so that alone is where we need to meet each other, one-on-one as humans, right? Now, in the animal world, like they say, birds of a feather flock together. So you will want to be close to your type. And it's broken down in a number of different ways.
It's natural, natural.
As an animal.
Yep.
Yes.
As an animal. And some of it is defense mechanism and all of that. But as we are the higher form, we need to get to know each other one-on-one individually, and then we know. But in general, though, when you look at Caribbean people and the differences and how we share so much, in common, you know, and we start to even embrace each other.
Yep,
I
yep.
mean, there's a time when you wouldn't think about a Trinidad type carnival in Jamaica.
That's right.
And pretty
Yeah.
much now, that's one of the biggest
Yeah.
events on the
Experience
streets
carnival,
in
yep.
Jamaica, right? Trinidad type carnival, right? When I listen to Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley and her real charge to the the major European and America, when she's laying down reasons why they need to support us simply because of the history and how they have depleted our resources and not supported us. And now that we have climate change, things are totally different. The responsibility shouldn't be on us as small Caribbean islands because of the benefits that they have
Whip from
gained
Yeah.
and reaped.
Yep.
Use the word rape
Yep.
from
Yep.
us, you know.
Yep.
So again, we as people need to understand that the strength in unity. What's the Haitian motto?
Together we strong.
Together we are stronger. That's the Haitian. And the Jamaican motto,
Out
out
of
of many we are
one.
One people.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Say
different
the
words,
same
same
thing.
So if we begin to live from those tenets and begin to build and create the lifestyle and build a society, because Jamaica, for one, the nation, the population is so diverse. The Indians,
Yes.
Chinese, you know, the various groups. And
Europeans.
we have it a little more, you know, and Trinidad has a similar situation. There are some that they didn't experience it as much, so you'll find the Africans are more in the majority, but there's still that influence, and it influences our food, it influences our
Everything.
music, it influences everything,
Everything.
and that brings the similarity to us
Yes.
all.
You know, you said that it is something just when
Beautiful,
we have one of the good things in terms of being us more together, as the topic goes. When we had the Afro-Carib Fest, I don't think all of us know all the words to all the songs or the language.
man.
But we were moving on the same rhythm,
We're
the same beat,
dancing.
and we were
I danced all night.
all night, and we were enjoying
All night.
it immensely without finding out whether that's Creole,
Yeah.
Patois, or whatever come from Ghana or anywhere, because that's the rhythm within our system. Real quick, just because there's so many people online, I just wanted to recognize you and still continue to share. I see the share coming in. Jackie McCollum, she says, good evening, Jackie, how you doing? Anne-Marie Shooter, hey, PJ, if you know the correct spelling, just tell it to me, please.
Schroeder.
Huh?
Shouter.
Shouter. Say, Gina, yes, ma'am. I have Sandra. Sandra is what? Zandra is watching. Gertie Browser is watching. Charmaine Waite Pinnock is watching. Evelyn Wallen is watching. Hyacinth Love Girl is watching. Kay Lawrence Martinique says, we have to embrace each other. The only difference is that we were dropped off at different parts.
Different style.
Amazing. I could have said that better.
Right.
Awesome. Maud Mahood. PJ, keep letting me know who's, if I have the names wrong. And also, PJ, if there's anybody watching on Moments, let me know. And if
On my page.
on your page, let me know. Nadine Lopez is watching. Whitney's watching. Susan Grant. Nadje's watching. Jennifer Raphael. Ronald Bartran is watching. Susan Hall. Yanisha Chung Bonner. Garfield. And I'll come back to the rest. the people that,
But I think
a moment. Okay, cool. Yes, go ahead.
yeah, for that, we go back to colonialism. This is why education
Thanks,
is
PJ.
better,
Yep.
is always important for education. Because during the colonialism time, our slave, our ancestor, they pick us up from different part of Africa. They did not want us to speak our own dialects. This is where speaking proper comes from. Because you must speak the language of the master or the massa. So in order for you not to get punished. So now we have slave that's smarter than another that pick up the language faster. Some of them was already educated from Africa, came in, was teaching the master son, the wife, how to read. Now, different dialect from different part of Africa, different accent. The only thing that differentiates us is the boat stop. The boat stop here, they drop some here, the boat make the next stop, they drop some here, mother, cousin, we all scatter all over. And I'm telling you, this is where today, we say, I don't speak. You got people in Jamaica probably say, Montego Bay say, I don't speak the same way.
That's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got people from Capital Port-au-Prince say, where I'm from in the north, you speak different. Because when they divide us, it takes 5 generations to break the circle of their DNA. So that's why we're scared of sharks. We're scared of water. Because when they feed our ancestors in water, they pass the gene to us. If you take a snake and you to the elephant will run from the snake. Because they used to kill elephant for fun with snake, poisonous snake. So elephant don't like snake. Now because they can destroy a snake, but they know the trauma pass from generation to generation. Last thing I would say, sometimes DNA speak last longer than words, books. Breakbarking started in Virginia. They were doing at the slave farm in West Virginia. Two guys from two masters from England that was on vacation, take 2 young men, take him to Jamaica to entertain the masters in the breakbarking. That become part of the culture of Jamaica. This is the reason when they say Jamaican people, Haitian people don't like gay people. We don't like, it's not we don't like gay people.
It's the trauma.
Because
It's
the
the trauma.
You said it that.
The trauma that filter, 5th generation, we see they emasculate
How they dealt with
my
us.
father, my grandfather, or they make sure the strongest man, they get you into, now, it's not because I know my history. I don't have respect for you for your choice, but I don't have to be relieved my pain in the sorrow of my ancestor. So this is why people say Jamaican hate. We don't hate. The Highland don't hate no gay people. This is not something we know what it means for us. It doesn't mean happiness for us.
Doesn't mean happiness, right?
It means
It's
sorrow.
pain, pain
for us.
Grieving.
Yes.
So this is the reason why we have to explain. Me and him, we can get that conversation. We're on the same page without knowing each other. If we go to New York, drop us in New York, get the same conversation, people will like,
what's wrong with them?
what's wrong with this? We both, we share something as ancestors that filter to us. It takes 5 generations to break the circle of the DNA, to get it right. That's why we need to learn and learn our children to know their history, because without go back to history, you cannot have a better future.
Right. And I have to mention this, I haven't written it, but on my father's side, we are a Kompong Maroons. And so I know part of my activism, rebel spirit is in my DNA. Right? And so what you're saying is really true. Your DNA, it's in you. It takes generations to break it. Fortunately for myself, my father's side has always stayed with their generation in a Kompong town, the Maroons. So I visited it a couple of times. I really, it's going there, you feel like you're home.
That's why I see location, because we from the same place.
Yes.
One boat stop.
No, this is interesting, but folks, I have Barbara, who Eddie have to take this one. She said, "Come on now, guys, you leave out the beautiful people of Guyana."
All right.
LOL.
What's Guyana?
So like you said, we gotta have to have a part 2 of this at some time forward. And while we are there, we just want to welcome some other folks. Barbs, thank you so much. And because him decided he's going to be taking the brunt for it, I'm just going to blame him for not mentioning it, so forth. We have other people watching. We can't call all the names because we are running almost. PJ is going to tell me right now I got 5 minutes. How much time I got, PJ? What time did we start?
Oh.
So we got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay, good.
Reclaim your time.
Okay, we got a little bit of time. So quick. I just Mr. Joseph.
Sorry, Luke, but before you know, one of the things and one of the greatest forms of education is travel. Travel. And so I would say to anybody, any opportunity you get to travel to another Caribbean island.
Or
just general.
Anywhere,
No, we're
but
talking Caribbean now. This
all right,
I'm
yes.
focusing on this
Thank you
topic,
for the
the
refocus.
Jamaican,
You're right,
the Haitian, the Trinidad, the
Yeah, you're right,
Guyanese.
you're right.
But
Yeah.
go down to the islands,
Yeah, man.
travel the islands, and see what that experience teaches you. You know, that is something. I'm on a journey because I'm on my bucket list. I need to visit every Caribbean island.
Ooh.
That's on my bucket list. So, a couple of years ago, we started to do one U.S. city and a Caribbean island each year.
Nice.
Right. That's kind of how we travel.
Yeah.
The-
You hear that, Boogsy?
Yeah.
You hear that, Boogsy? We're one of the Caribbean islands
Right.
instead of
Right.
states.
Going into when you go into the country and you immerse yourself. Don't go and just stay in a
Right.
all-inclusive
Yes.
resort. Go, you know, when you go ice teens
Yeah.
and just to say it's the same thing like Faith Spend, you know, you realize that, whoa, this is just a good vibe, you know, and you really talk to the people and you eat the food and you hear the music because the culture
Yeah, man.
the culture is really that
Yeah, man.
leader
Yeah.
of unifying us and getting us to understand each other.
Yeah. And when we talk about individualization, the reason I bring that up is as I travel across the globe, like you probably have done, Mr. Joseph, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what you look like. I realize people who travel look at things different and deal with it different. It doesn't matter what you look like. And I realize there's people who travel have that. And I've said this, if I can take up the entire island of Jamaica, the dog, the puss, the rat, the pig, everybody, and send them all over the globe and bring them back for 30 days, I guarantee the island will change. Because when I talk to people in the island who travel, they don't think like those who are there. But just like what Ginger said, we're not blaming it. It's just this little box, right? And because you don't know that, I've met people in Miami who've never left Miami. Have never driven to like Jacksonville. Like how do you not do that, right? So, but again, in Alman Town as a little youth growing up, I can tell you I've never visited some parts of the parish of Jamaica until I went back to Jamaica.
Right.
So I can understand that, right? But the moment I travel, I'm telling you, man, it blew my mind. You realize things are just the same. It's just different time zone. They do it a little bit different. And because it's time zone, them can't cook it the same way.
Right.
So it's a little bit different in that perspective. So it's great.
We have about 10 minutes. We're going to run a little bit late, and we have the ability to do that. Because I want to talk to everybody about what we're doing and what everybody's doing in their life and what they're moving on. But to sum up this aspect of it in terms of we are more alike than different, to get people to understand this moving forward, because this year is a funny year, not only several things happening, but part of it is the election cycle. And part of the election cycle, people use everything to get vote. You know? Unfortunately, people use accent, people use origin, people use everything on the planet to get vote. At the end of the day, we are still the same people. So Pete, what would you say that we have to emphasize to people for people to understand if they didn't get it, that we are more alike than different? And yeah, Bobby, Barbara, we're talking about Guyana, we're talking about every country that have us, you know, let us know.
And this is where I'm going to invite Miss Joseph to join us right here. Just come, Miss Joseph, because this is exactly my question. I'm sorry, my answer to your question is just the panel. And you can probably stand beside, your husband or in between there.
Yes,
if you just look at the panel.
And you can just, if you stand right between them, you get both mics.
Yes.
1 second, sound check.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms.
Say something, Miss Joseph, so they can. All right.
So are we doing tech staff? Miss Joseph, just say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
They can hear.
Good, I'm sure.
They're not hearing, they're told.
Testing 1, 2. Hello.
Mike is coming. Mike is coming. Mike is
Okay.
coming.
then.
Oh,
Bring them
but the reason I brought her in is because what you're trying to do, Luke, I believe everything starts somewhere, and this is the beginning to, I believe, something you can do quarterly to bring the diaspora together, individuals from all over the diaspora, and just having this audience of just different individuals. And, Eddie represents the side of the Barbadians and the Trinidadians, and we represent Jamaica on this side. But just to have this is a start, and that is my answer. It's very rare. I don't believe I've ever seen anything in our diaspora where we're bringing people from different cultures to talk about their cultures, to do it together.
Different.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
That like a show called Bar Talk.
Yeah, man, that's right. The bar, yeah, man, it's bar talk. You understand? So I just say my answer is just bringing you in to say this panel answers your question.
Before you say anything, Mrs. Joseph, just tell the whole Bar Talk, Jamaicansdotcom, your husband channel, everybody, Facebook. Just tell them in your language. Good welcome and good afternoon in what's the language you speak?
Zambia.
Well, in Zambia we have actually 72 dialects. So
72?
yeah.
There you go. That's the point set, right?
we
still
about
want
that.
people, right? It's still Zambia. That's the point.
What we are.
We still read 72 years.
Go ahead. Pick any one you want. How many do you speak? How many do you speak?
Well, I speak the language that's in the capital, which is Nyanja.
Okay.
But that was my dad's. We follow our dad's.
Villages,
So
got
I have to follow my dad.
Got
Right.
My dad was Bemba, so I'm Bemba.
Got it.
And then my mom was Mambwe, so that's a different, but all in the northern province.
And do you speak both Bambia and
understand.
Mabwe? Okay.
I understand. I don't speak it. I speak some Bemba, but I do
Isn't that
understand.
beautiful?
That's exactly what we talking
You
about.
don't speak some.
Well, what I want to ask you though, because I'm very curious, in terms of now coming from Zambia, and I'm sure you have some exposure to one Haiti and other Caribbean islands. What is it that you see that reminds you of Zambia from the Caribbean?
I guess just the different. We have different cultures. We are one Zambia, but different. We do things differently as a people. So depending where you're from, if you're from, I'd say the northern province, we do things differently in the northern province.
Right.
But as well, in the same northern province, if it's another town, they do things differently. So it's just, I guess, the diversity you like.
No, are
We
there
do
any
things
similarities that you would
Similarities
see
with
from Haiti?
From me, oh.
Yeah, that's similar to Zambia.
That's similar to Zambia. Well, the food is different.
Food is different.
The way they cook, yeah, it's
Okay.
different. I mean, it's the same food, but they kill it so many times. They kill it so many times.
Yeah.
Lemon,
The key was food. They just kill it so many times.
we just,
Cook it.
clean it one time.
I teach you how to.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah. Take it out and wash with lime.
With vinegar.
Take out all of the flavor, everything, right?
Boil it
Boil
up and
it,
bake it
and then
again.
try put seasoning.
And then drain it out.
Kill it and resurrect it.
I've learned, to cook the Haitian way.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
So,
like-
but again, this to me, this
Yeah.
raises a point
Yes,
because sometimes you will hear, and I'm keeping it real here. Sometimes you will buy Asian people like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
But here she's now saying them clean the food too much.
It's too Eddie. It's so true.
Right.
While all of the future is out there.
Right, true.
But I'm still waiting on that hello to the folks.
Oh,
Oh, hi everyone.
in your language now.
Oh, Munibwanji. That's Munibwanji, that's
Munibwanji.
hello.
Hello, okay.
Munishani, that's Bemba.
Right.
What was it?
Yeah, I know. You happy to be there.
How do you say I love you?
Nikukonda.
Enikonda?
Nikukonda.
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 Okay,
Oh,
we
yeah.
Bartak,
Nikutemwa.
Nikukonda, the community.
You just think Zambian where there is
Something.
Yes.
we are now pushing over time. Pete,
Thanks
talk
for
to
joining.
me. Talk to me. Talk to me about. You can say right there now. You feel free. Hold on. to
Yeah,
your
don't
husband.
move now. We didn't invite
There's
you
a
to leave.
Caribbean song. Hold
Yeah.
on to
To your
your
husband.
man.
Yes, don't let go your man.
Anyway, Pete, yeah, as we tend to wrap up, tell me what's going on in your world. Tell me who you represent, and what's on the. By the way, the other year mentioned about this little show called Bar Talk. We always promote Pete. Pete is an author, and Father's Day is coming up right after Mother's Day. This makes an excellent book. When a man loves, and it's not salacious, it's not anything else but a proud father and husband and a man of the soil talking about how best to love, passionately, even to love another man in an age where people, you have to be careful how you use a word because people call you all kind of different names. How to love your community, how to love another nationality, another person, how to understand that we are stronger together. Okay? And so we just want to plug this book for him. He never asked me to plug it, but since he is here, that's one of the things he does, and I'll turn it over back to him.
Thank you very much, Luke. I appreciate the promo, definitely. But one of the things I want to correct, Luke, is that I can say right here in front of Sir Eddie, who is definitely a good friend of mine, that I don't clear up when I say I love a man. I love you, Eddie. I love you, Mr. Joseph. I love you, Luke. The young man them back there, love you, no. Right? We not clear that up because that's the misconception. When you try to clear it up, that means that I tell a guy that when a pastor preach and say, if you are a Christian, you're allowing people who kind of dip on the side, say, oh, well, me if over here, and they never come over. We're not ifing it. I love you, man. And as the president of the Jamaican Men of Florida, the reason why I'm honored to be here is that I have a lot of Haitian guys come to me and say, hey, can I join that club? And what do you think I tell them? Ginger, what do you tell them? Yes. Yes, and I've had men in the community say, but Pete, I say, hey, if we have a space that I know we're offering, that men can come into, that we're offering love. I don't care if you're Jamaican, Haitian, Puerto Rican, come from Israel, come from Palestine, wherever you want to come from. The space is there, and I know that we need it as men, Eddie. And this is why I'm honored to be here to say, wherever you are in this diaspora, and you want to be a part of Jamaican Men of Florida, reach out to us. Our website is jmoflorida.org. But coming up on May the 12th, next week, we will be at Holy Episcopal Church in Miami Gardens, giving out flowers to the beautiful mothers, right, for Mother's Day coming up. And right after that, June the 15th, we're going to be at Caparella Park. We're having a family fun day. Free barber haircut. Free counseling, free health screening. We're going to have career source there. We're going to have, when I say something where men come out and bring your family, bring out, and I'll be cutting my own son here that day, right? Even though it's something I do, but I want to do it in front of the community. So we're just going to do that. We're going to do that. So come out, man.
You're up.
Oh.
Ginger.
All right. So, I am Government Diane Watson, affectionately known as Ginger Spice. I'm building my brand. I've been asked so many times, Ginger, what you do? I do many things, like Pete, my brother here. And he mentioned the Jamaican Men of Florida. So, when you see these men, and Eddie can speak, and Mr. Joseph can speak. When you see these men have these events, and the events run smooth, we round there.
That's true.
All right?
Yes.
We round there.
Yes.
And I will say to people, and Pete, I don't know if he announced it to Jamaican Men of Florida, but I have a pin that says the Jamaican Men of Florida. So I'm an honorary member of the Jamaican Men of Florida. Because I do believe in serving and giving back. The Jamaican Women of Florida is women. They can do everything. The men need help, right? But I'm creating my brand. I will be releasing my personal or business page soon. I did form a company. My company speaks to who I am. It's called the Spice Rack, and on it you can get anything. All my friends. If you want to find my friends, you come to the Spice Rack. They have a rack in my business. So that's it for today.
You have a phone number that we can reach you with all the guys. And I got guys, don't want to call the number if you're not doing business.
You have to pass the Jamaican men of Florida to get to me, okay?
Okay, good.
President right here.
All right, no problem. And so I know, folks, if the panel's going to reach out to you because we're running behind, but there's so many people who are just chiming in and we can. But for example, Kay Lawrence says, great panel, good vibes, please do it again. Please to the people, that's what you say. You know, there's some other people who says, Haiti 509. Sounds familiar?
Yeah, 509. Yeah.
509, Haiti 509 says, love you all guys. Let's keep supporting our candidate
Yes.
Rodney Joseph, Senator. So in that case, I'm turning it over to you. Talk to us. Yeah.
Yes, my name is Rod Joseph, and I'm a Dr. Rod Joseph because people always left the doctors out. But I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and this is beautiful. What's important about my campaign? I am the very first origin immigrant from the Caribbean that's running in Florida for the U.S. Senate. Not Haitian, the first Caribbean in total. So I'm inspiring your children, your daughter, your granddaughter. Maybe 10 years from now, we can have at least both Senate come from the Caribbean because we've been offered so much more for this country. We play aspect in every way of development of this country, from military to government. We always behind the scene. Each time my generation, we sit at the table to bring our community at the table. Because we cooking at the cuisine, people say the food is good. We know we make the food, but we need to enjoy the meal too. So this is the time I'm calling upon every Caribbean, everyone, immigrants. My story is no different from yours. Follow me, help me, support me, so we can bring the whole community together.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. And Mrs. Joseph, any parting words for your husband?
Well, I'm here to support him, and I hope everyone can support him as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Eddie, take us out. Talk to us what you're, well, this is a man who does so many things, from Jerkfest to KNTV to what have you. Just tell us what are your next project?
Well, right now, as you know, my wife and I, we run Rhythms Marketing, and we provide access to Caribbean diaspora markets, and also we promote the Jerk festivals in New York and Florida. But also, I'm a community servant. I've been serving this community for years. I have business in Miramar for over 20 years, and recently, moved to Miramar the last 5 years. And there's this opportunity to serve on the Miramar Commission, and so I'm going to put myself up as a candidate for the Miramar Commission. That's going to be my next step.
It's Eddie's time!
Yes.
Stronger
So
together.
I see, I'm going to call him from now, Senator. Senator Rod Joseph said a word. What is the Haitian motto you said?
It's strength and unity.
Strength and unity. Strength and unity. But our campaign slogan will be stronger together.
All right.
Together.
Right.
See, there you go.
Right.
We gotta move together. We are stronger, and we can accomplish it when we all work together in unity and harmony and as one.
Right.
Awesome. We're more alike, folks,
Than
than
different.
different. That's
Yes.
awesome, awesome. And as soon as you said that, all of a sudden I have Joyce Smith and everybody cheering you on, Eddie. So we just have to go back inside. And enough respect, Pete Kennedy. Oh, Lord. The Spice Rock. Hallelujah. All these. You guys can go back. We are grossly over time. Listen, folks, it has been my pleasant plum pleasure to have you here and have our special guests. They have just spoke to you about their mission and what's closest to the heart. We are always going to think about a second edition of this. So yes, if you're out there, if you want to be a Guyanese, Trini, or anybody from anywhere want to be on a show like this, just let us know. We're always looking for ideas for show. And though it says bar talk, it's got really nothing to do with, as you see, other thing but real positive conversation. And we're on Jamaicansdotcom, a moment to remember, but it's not limited to Jamaicans, as you see. See you next week. It's going to be a wonderful conversation next week. You're the best part of the show. Thank you, my guests, and thank you, the best part, the people out there. Until next week, God bless.
Thank you.